Good morning and thanks for joining us on News 4 today. Whether you're watching live on air or streaming through our app right now, we're glad you're here. Now, I hope you had the chance to get outside yesterday. It felt amazing. If you didn't, Cody, it looks like you'll have another shot at it today.
Yeah.
CDC experts will meet today to talk about a possible link between COVID-19 vaccines and heart problems in young people. The committee will hear about 300 cases of heart inflammation in the recently vaccinated. Doctors who treated the inflammation cases say they were pretty easy to treat and most patients did recover. The panel will look at the linked reports and determine whether the risks outweigh the benefits of getting the vaccine. New from overnight, a man is facing charges after police in Hendersonville were called to a report of a man taking pictures of children. This happened Monday. Police say the man was spotted taking those pictures at a home on Cumberland Shores Drive. After that call, detectives caught up with Michael Foster on your screen there. During their investigation, they found 50 pictures of child pornography. Foster was then arrested and charged. On to our schools now. Many kids missed out on learning this past school year due to COVID. Things were really tough out in Wilson County, where a massive tornado happened right before that. In response, many parents there say the summer learning program was a must. Our Justin Beasley takes us inside the classrooms. Metro Schools is putting out the call for middle and high school teachers. In a Twitter post, they say they're in need of science, chemistry, and biology teachers. Now, you'll remember, Nashville's newly passed budget includes teacher raises that'll make Metro teachers some of the highest paid in the state. We've learned that one man died and 2 people were hurt in this. This storm formed near Montreal. People here say they had only seconds to brace for the storm. We learned that the man who died was a father of 3. A new video out of Peru shows an earthquake rattling traffic cameras in the capital. The 5.8 magnitude quake caused rocks to fall all over the roadways. So far, no major damage has been reported. President Joe Biden will lay out his plan to pull our country out of a violent crime surge. Sobering data from the Gun Violence Archive finds that there have been nearly 300 mass shootings so far this year. At least 10 of them were this past weekend. They happened in 9 different states where 7 people were killed and 45 others injured. It's not just mass shootings either. Major cities around the country, including Nashville, have seen a rise in violent crime. New details this morning about a story you may have seen while you're scrolling through social media. What seemed like a billion-dollar mistake was actually no mistake at all. A Florida woman says she was stunned when she tried to withdraw $20 from a Chase Bank ATM. The balance showed nearly $1 billion in the account, but the ATM wouldn't let her take out any money. Chase Bank is now saying the number is part of a fraud prevention method, and it generally appears if an account has been locked due to suspicious activity. Summer is officially underway and many families are hitting the pool, but a recent report suggests that the number of children at risk for drowning has increased over the past year as the pandemic put swim lessons on hold. Experts are offering 4 ways to reduce your family's risk in the water this summer. Karen Drew reports, so a good message there. Well, Ronald McDonald is finally going to give you something back for all those Big Macs you've been taking down. McDonald's is launching its first ever nationwide loyalty program. Here's how it works. You'll get 100 points for every $1 you spend, plus 1,500 bonus points after your first order. We have new details this morning after a teen shot himself in Nashville late last night. Brittany Weiner is at the News 4 Alert Desk with more. Terrifying situation. Thank you, Brittany. Our crews also responded to a shooting call along Glastonbury Road. Now, we weren't able to get any information from the scene, but here's what we found out so far. The incident happened just before 10 last night, and our crew did see an ambulance leave the scene, taking someone away. Just days after a massive fire destroyed 18 apartment homes, fire inspectors came back and found more than a dozen violations at the Brentwood Oaks apartments out in Antioch. We did get an email from the complex owner. They say they've hired an independent fire contractor to inspect all the units. Now, if you live in an apartment built before 2012 in Nashville and your balcony is made out of wood, just be aware that if your building does catch fire, there are no sprinklers required on balconies. The For Good Government's effort to limit property tax hikes in Nashville has come to a standstill. A judge called off the special election in July. A Hendersonville man is charged in a child porn case this morning. The arrest happened Monday. Police say the man was spotted taking pictures at a home on Cumberland Shores Drive. After that call, detectives caught up with Michael Foster. During the investigation, dozens of inappropriate pictures were found in his possession. He was then arrested and charged. A Tennessee man will not be fighting charges he faced from raiding the Capitol back in January. Brian Ivey pleaded guilty. Out of more than 500 charged so far, he's the fifth to plead guilty. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is expected to make a decision this week on creating a new committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the Capitol. That comes from a tweet put out Tuesday by her spokesperson. He says her preference is still a bipartisan commission. Republican senators already voted against a plan for an independent investigation, so we'll let you know what else happens there. We have a couple of big court hearings today. The man charged in a sheriff deputy's murder will face a judge. Stephen Wiggins is charged in the death of Daniel Baker in 2018. Unruly passenger complaints are hitting new heights. Since the beginning of the year, the Federal Aviation Administration recorded 3,000 reports of unruly passengers. They've recommended more than $360,000 worth of civil penalties. Flight attendant unions are calling it out of control. They say their members have dealt with insults and yelling from passengers, and even in some cases, violence. Following the pandemic year, a federal court decided to uphold the Tennessee first-time voter in-person law. The law became an issue last year when absentee voting battles were popular. Tennessee requires first-time voters to show up in person to prove they are who they say they are. It was blocked and challenged last year by a lower court. Well, turns out an appeals court decided to put it back in place. COVID-19 will likely not have an impact on the next election cycle. Now, Senate Republicans stood firm, blocking the For the People Act. A filibuster ended the debate, but Democrats say they're not done fighting. Someone hacked a highway road sign in Miami to display their opinions on COVID-19 and Dr. Anthony Fauci. Do you see that? The sign read, "Arrest Fauci, COVID-19 was a hoax, and vaccines kill." Those were among just a few of the messages on the sign Tuesday. Now you can get a really good look at the sign when the video is slowed down there. Bandages cover the many bumps and bruises, but Riddle says he's gonna be just fine. He's just glad that his dog survived the storm too. What a good attitude to have there. I'm glad he's okay. You know, Cody, thankfully, we haven't been dealing with any of that madness in Middle Tennessee. It's actually been pretty quiet for us here. An Olympics unlike any other is set to start in exactly 1 month. It'll look a lot different than we're used to, with a limited number of fans in the stands, heavy COVID restrictions, and no cheering. Chapman Bell has the countdown for us. Yeah, exactly right. Gonna have to take some creativity to cheer without actually cheering. Now, things have become so intense that the governor of the country has taken some time off. She's been heavily involved with event planning and COVID response. Developing for you this morning, we have more clues as police try to identify the gunman who fired a shot inside a Nashville Walmart. Metro Police put out these surveillance images. Take a really good look. Investigators say the gunman briefly argued with a man inside the store on Charlotte Pike and then fired a shot. As far as police can tell, no one was hurt. A triple shooting in Gallatin leaves one person dead and 2 others injured. This happened yesterday at a park in the area of Lock 4 Road. The investigation into what happened is still in its really early phases, but police are calling this a random shooting. Again, 1 person died, another was airlifted to a hospital. Happening today, a signing of a major bill that could save lives. This afternoon, Governor Bill Lee will publicly sign the Lifetime Order of Protection bill. The bill creates orders of protection for victims of violence for life. An East Tennessee teenager is offering a $2,000 reward in hopes of finding Summer Wells. Trevor Lee told our sister station in Knoxville that he's been saving this money for a while, and this is exactly where he wants it to go. We've just learned that a $100,000 reward is being offered in the search. This brand new body cam video shows the officer's encounter with the man before he was shot. The police chief says the officer was on patrol when he spotted a man sitting in a car with a California tag. Police say the officer escorted the man out of the car, and after a short struggle, the suspect shot the officer. So far, there's still no sign of that suspect. The county where all of this happened is still on lockdown right now. Today could be pivotal for President Biden's infrastructure plan. Here's a live look on Capitol Hill, where senators on both sides have come to an agreement on the plan. It's the busiest time of year for fireworks sales, but a huge shortage could send fireworks stands packing up early. That's why sellers are warning, if you want to put on a great show, you better buy fast. A suburban cancer patient refuses to let her sickness get the best of her. Using her sense of humor and her courage, she's come up with something to make chemo a little more bearable, and it's helping out a lot of others in the same boat. Leanne Trotter reports. Now to a COVID vaccine update for you this morning. An advisory group to the CDC says there could be a link between heart inflammation in young adults and the mRNA COVID vaccines. They told the CDC cases of myocarditis and pericarditis usually happen within a week of getting the second dose of the vaccine. New details this morning about a 13-year-old who shot himself in Nashville. Now, this latest incident sparked a new push to secure guns in homes. Metro Police say the 13-year-old was trying to put his dad's gun away when it went off. In 2020, there were 13 accidental shootings by children, 9 resulting in death and 4 resulting in injury in our state. Well, a handful of mid-state officers and attorneys have their own ideas on how to curb violence we've seen in Nashville. One popular theory among police is that prosecutors are to blame, saying they dismiss too many charges. Prosecutors disagree. They say it's about easy access to guns. It'll be 6 months since a bomb rocked Nashville on Christmas Day. This video is still tough to watch. They also had improvements with digital access. In 2020, 1 in 5 students had no access at all. That number is also down to 13% as of this year. Now, all of our rankings are available online, and we have an extra breakdown for you of those key categories. Did you see the game last night? Once again, in dramatic fashion, the Vandy boys get the win in the College World Series. And what an unforgettable game it was. No, it was a tight one, but the team rallied and beat Stanford with a walk-off after a wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Doors will now play Friday against North Carolina State. Now, they played them earlier in the tournament, losing 1-0. They have to beat them twice to advance to the final, so good luck to our Vandy boys. Vice President Kamala Harris will visit the U.S.-Mexico border this week. The White House says Harris will visit El Paso, Texas tomorrow. At least 6 people are hurt after a pedestrian bridge collapses onto a highway in Washington, D.C. The bridge fell onto D.C. 295, trapping at least 2 vehicles under debris. One of those vehicles was a truck, which started leaking fuel, prompting a hazmat response. This morning, a Pennsylvania high school cheerleader is taking a victory lap after a Supreme Court decision. 4 years ago, when Brandy Levi didn't make the varsity cheer team, she did what most teens do, posted about her frustration online. A Cincinnati police officer is being praised for how he handled a dangerous encounter with an armed man last month. You won't believe it. It's a heart-to-heart conversation, all caught on camera. The body cam starts as Cincinnati police are pulling up to the scene. Officers responded to a call about a fight and damage to property after someone threw a brick through the window of a home. In the video, the man in the white shirt who lives at the home went to his car for a gun. That's when the officer pulls his, but keeps calm and de-escalates the situation.